Hi everybody, this is Fun with Art with Jeanne B, and guess what? I'm Jeanne B. So first of all, I just want to say hi to my granddaughter first, so that she's the only one that seems to watch my shows, my grandchildren. So Alex, Grandma's here, and I'm glad you do watch all my shows. So the reason I'm bringing up Alex, because she came to visit me last month, and she was in my studio, and she was looking at all the different things, and she wanted to do a particular project that I had on the windowsill. And it was a little bit more difficult than what she could do. So we took it down, we took it apart, and we decided that we could adapt it to her and how she could do something. So this is all about pivoting today. So I had a totally different show planned for all of you. And then I realized it was the middle of March. We just got through with a massive blizzard, so there was feet of snow. When I say feet, we had 36 inches, so there was a lot of snow. I was not able to get out of my home in about 4 days. So we pivoted, and pivoting is okay to do. And in this day and age, a lot of times we have to pivot things, we have to adapt to things, but we can do it with fun. And so I'm going to show you some different things that you can do. Since the Easter holiday is coming up by the end of the month, it's early this year, I wanted to show you some different things that you could do really quickly in order for you to have some fun with art. So this is one standard wreath thing. What I did was I took this one piece and I made many different things with it to show you how you could adapt, how you could do things differently. Most people will take this and they wrap it with either ribbon, they'll wrap it with the wide ribbon, but I wanted to do something a little different. So I took this Chanel, and a lot of people make those beautiful Afghans, which I yet to learn. And so I wrapped them, I wrapped this with the Chanel. So we're going to show you all the different ways in which you can do something a little bit differently using the same object. So the first one I did was this one. Now, it's pretty simple. It has all these little pots. All I did was wrap it with the Chanel, right? And I made it look a little different. This one I decided I wanted it to look a little Eastery, so I put a little Easter bunnies in it, right? After the holiday, if I don't want those, all I have to do is go in and snip them. Adaptability to the things sometimes we want, and then sometimes we want to change, and it's okay. We can do that. I can hear him. Now the next one I did, I got really, Alex was visiting, and this was the first one I made. She chose this yellow. And so this is just one pot. But what I did differently to make it just a little bit different, I took the pot, it's just those little clay pots that you start flowers in, and I just did a napkin. I did, some pottery on it. That was it. And I just glued that on to give it a little bit of difference. Okay? And I had the flowers cascading down because that's my choice. A lot of people, you could go all the way around if you want. It doesn't matter, right? It's having fun with it and doing it. So that was another one. This is all from that same wooden ring, right? I didn't change anything. I just changed how the perception of it to make it look differently. I used the same materials, right? And so you can do it too. Now, the second thing, I thought this was really kind of cute. I did change it. And look, all I did was I took the same ring and I added a ribbon on the back just because for something different. But it's that same wooden ring. And then I bought all kinds of cotton balls. Now, I bought these cotton balls off of Amazon, but I was noticing that they're a lot cheaper if you go into like one of the dollar stores, one of the bigger crafting stores, and this way you can buy them in bulk, right? Now, look at this. Where do you get a bunny's butt? Is that cute or what? And that was from the dollar store. The ears, you know those headbands that the kids wear with the little bunny ears? That's what that is. And all I did was make a little bunny's butt ears. Now, I didn't bring the other one with me because I do have one that is the alternate one. So when I put them on my door, I'm going to have one with the head facing forward. And then I have this one with the little bunny's butt going backwards. Different things you can do, right? Pretty simple, pretty easy. Now, again, all I did was I had all these things, and I used the same balls, and all I did was I put you can see the headband a little bit better. So these are just different ideas that you can use in order for you to make different creative things for yourself. They're simple to do. Hot glue gun. My camera lady, for my birthday, brought me a beautiful hot glue gun that I don't have to plug in. You can, all I have to do is remember to charge it, and it's great. And so this was one more. This is the one done with the chenille. And this is a pair of two. And all I did was I took a little piece of burlap that I had, right? And you can use anything. Even if you have a piece of cloth, a napkin, whatever you want, it doesn't matter. And I just cut it to look like a little basket because that's what I thought would make it a little bit different. Put the little Easter eggs in it. Very simple. Wrap this. This was actually different than the other one. This was actually a form. I found it at the dollar store of all places. And I just wrapped it with the chenille. So it looks like little bunnies. So there are different ways to do different things with the same objects. And that's what I really wanted to show you, how simple we can do things. Because I don't know if you've gone into craft stores before, and they're magnificent. A lot of the wreaths are beautiful, but I have a hard time paying $75 or $50 for a wreath, and I know it's all well and worth it because putting the flowers in, they're very expensive, but my budget right now will not support that. And so I decide to do different things to make it easier. For instance, all I did was I bought this wreath. It was one of those, the grapevine wreaths. Very inexpensive at one of the craft stores. I think I paid $6 for it, if that. I found the ribbon on sale, right? And then the flowers, I found them on sale at the dollar store. So and then of course, I am not a good bow maker, I have to admit, but I tried my best, right? So the whole wreath cost me maybe $12.50, if that. And so it's cute. I enjoy it, and it's within my budget. So you can take simple things that you have around the house, look around, see the different things on sale, and you can find other objects to use in order for you to make different projects and adapt your budget to what is needed, right? It's all about pivoting in life. We have to pivot. There's so much going on in the world. We're looking here, we're looking there, we're trying to do this, we're trying to do that, but sometimes we just have to come to center and find different things we can do. The other thing is I think I'm allergic to the wreath, so I apologize. Now, so then I had one of my really bright ideas. I don't know if you remember at Christmas time, Cynthia Fontaine had come and she had done the fresh flowers, and we showed you how to do the arrangements, and then I did the fake one. And remember, there was 2 fake trees, and I put them together. And it made a really cute arrangement, especially if you can't have fresh florals in your house or for whatever the reason is. So I got the bright idea when I was in the dollar store to grab and see if I could do the same thing and see if I could. These are actually 2 pink trees. And what I did was I just wired them together. I tried to make it look like a nest. And to me, it's a little pink. I think it's cute. It might not be to your liking, but it's a fun thing to do. The kids would enjoy it. All I did was put the little Easter eggs. I glued everything together. And what I did was on the bottom, underneath here, maybe put it this way. This candle, you could light the candle. It's all good. I put a metal piece, like a little metal tray, in between there and glued it down, so that way I could take this, put a little bit of like that gummy tape, and just put it in there, so that way when I needed to change the batteries, I could do that. So there are different ways to be inventive and have fun with a lot of stuff that you have in the house. The kids love to put the little Easter eggs and all that stuff together, and so that's what I did with that. It's a fun idea. They had the little trees in pink, and they had them in blue. And so I, of course, chose the pink. So it might be a little bright, but I thought it was kind of cute. Just another fun idea for you to do. Now, then I decided, well, most people, they love to color eggs. And I've been seeing all the different ways that people have been dyeing eggs naturally, using tissue paper, using all these different projects. So I got the bright idea that I was going to get these eggs. Now, I don't know if the camera will be able to pick this up, but we will see if they can spot that. So I tried to dye the eggs all different ways. What I did first was I wrapped them, because I don't know if you've been seeing, you wrap them in this material, and then you put them in boiling water, and the material is supposed to soak into the shell of the egg. Well, naturally, I couldn't use regular eggs because I usually do these projects a couple of weeks, and it would have stunk by the time I got here in front of the camera. So I bought these ceramic eggs, and they're craft eggs, so they're not finished. They absorb whatever you put on them, you paint them, however. So the first thing I did was I did the wrapping of one. And I boiled it in the water, wrapped it all tight, and then I was so excited. I let them cool down. They're all sitting on they're all sitting on my table rack, right? And I'm like, oh, this is gonna be really great. And then I unopened it. And then I got that, which is just one little line. That's all I got out of it. So I'm like, really? I did like 7 or 8 eggs. I was so disappointed. I didn't know what I did wrong. So I went and I looked on YouTube to see what it was. Well, come to find out, you're supposed to do them in silk. I didn't know that. I just assumed that cotton, the colors, it would blend off of them. It didn't run. So if you're going to do these, you're supposed to do them like in a silk scarf or any kind of silk material. And I guess because it's so nice and thin, it will imprint on the egg. Something fun, something different for your children to do or you to do yourself. You can do it different ways, wrap them differently. So that was one thing I did. So then I'm researching, I'm like, well, there's got to be other ways to do stuff. So I went to the store, because they said tissue paper. You wrap them in tissue paper, then you put them in a coffee filter, you tie them up with string, and you throw them in, and you do that. And you're supposed to have these brightly colored eggs from the transfer of the tissue paper, almost like a tie-dye. Didn't work. So I think the reason was because when I went to the store, do you know that you can't find colored tissue paper anywhere? I went to I can't tell you how many stores. So I said, well, crepe paper, right? It's similar to tissue paper, but guess what? It doesn't bleed. For whatever the reason is, I don't know about you, but whenever I've tried to put it up in the rain, it always bled on my fingers. So I did that. I wrapped the egg with it all, and then I tied it up thinking I was going to get cute tie-dyed eggs to show you all. Nope, nothing. They came out completely clear like this. It was crazy. So then I said, okay. I tried it in these. I put it in the, I wrapped it in tissue. I put it in these, and then don't use them. And I'll tell you why. If I had really thought about it, these have a coating of wax. So naturally, it's going to be like a buffer for any color that anything would try to adhere to. So these are just, those filters that you use for the air fryer. I was trying everything. Late last night, I was saying, well, maybe I'll try this, maybe I'll try that. So then I got the bright idea, and I had some of these. And I said, these paper things, they're always bleeding on everything. So the only thing I could get out of this was I took some of these, I got the coffee filter, I put it inside the coffee filter, wrapped the egg up, and then boil them for a good maybe 10 minutes. So they were really soaking. You have to be very careful because they're very, very hot and they take a long time to cool off. Once they cooled off, right, all I got, and I don't know if the camera can pick that up, was like little sparkles, just little spots. That's all it did. It didn't completely cover it like I thought it was going to do. So anyways, those were my projects. So then I have one more. And this one, it did work. But I think what happened was because I left it in there, it didn't. On the internet, it said this is rice. And this is food coloring. So you put the egg in the rice with the food coloring, and you're supposed to smush it all up. Right? So I smushed it all up. And lo and behold, it does work. I don't want to take it out because then my finger's going to be all full of the color. And then I got to touch all my things and put them away, and I'll have spots all over them. So I don't want to do that. But it does work. I think what happened now was the rice just absorbed everything. But if you can see, it does, and I think this would be probably a lot more fun for children to do than the other ones that they could actually do hands-on, put the rice in the bag. Now this was, you can research it more, but I believe you're supposed to use the dry rice. This was the kind you buy in the Ziploc bag that you put in the microwave for 90 seconds to cook. That's all I had. And I said, well, I'm not going to go out and buy a thing of rice because I don't use a lot of rice. So I'll just use that, see if it works, right? Because it's uncooked. And it did. At first, the egg looked really, really cool. It had little sparkles on it, as you can see. The only problem is when I left it in the bag overnight, the rice absorbed all the food coloring. And so I think you have to take them out right away. But this would be a really fun activity. I could see my grandkids squishing the eggs, making a big mess and all that other good stuff. But it's a lot of fun. Now, the last thing I'm going to show you, which I think was really cool. And I had been seeing it on the internet for so long that I said, you know what, I am going to try it. And I did. And it worked, which is great. So what I learned to do was, look at these. Are they the coolest thing ever? Right? You know what I made them out of? Not going to believe this. These cotton pads. Can you imagine? All these years, I've been taking my makeup off with these cotton pads, never realizing I could make flowers out of them. So let me show you really quickly. I'm not going to take the water and all that other stuff, but what you do, it's very, very simple. I use this jar because I felt that this, first of all, was the only jar I had handy in my craft room, so that's what I used. But also, I think if you use too big a jar, the flower will not form correctly. So what I did was, I had a little bowl, and this right here is watercolor. I found that the yellow worked the best. I had this one, the purple and the red, but this one the lighter color seemed to absorb better in the cotton pads, right? So what you do is you grab a little bowl, my bowl was a little bowl like this, mixed a little dab of the watercolor in it, and just blended it so that it was very, very pastel-y and very liquidy, okay? Then all I did was put one of these at a time, because at first I didn't know what I was doing, in the little water bowl. I wrung it out, and then you just take it and you put it on the side like this. Now it's not going to stick because obviously it's not wet, but I'll show you how I did it. And then I did the next one, right? Then I did the next one until they all was like that. And I had one like that. So now when you look at it, you figure, well, how the heck is it going to stay together, right? So you have to make sure that there's a seam here and there's a seam here where they overlap. So when you put the next leaf on them, all you have to do is go in between and put the leaves like this. I'm going to see if I can make a really cute one really fast. And then that way, when I take it out of the jar, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Oh, look, I have spots. So we'll have a little piece of purple one. And so you go like that, right? And you keep going. Now, depending on how big you want to make the rose, is how many you put. I got lost in a story I was watching on the TV while I was doing these, so that's why these are a little bit bigger. But otherwise, you do it what you want. Remember, you're going to wet this, because these are going to be wet. You're going to have to make sure you wring them out, okay? Because if you put them sopping wet, they're never going to dry, and it'll just, what happens is this is cotton, so it'll be like this. It'll just start getting longer and longer and longer. I don't know if you ever had a cotton sweater and you washed it. My mother always told me you're supposed to block it. I didn't know what the heck she was talking about. You block it. You block it on a piece of like a cloth or something so that it doesn't stretch, right? And so the first time I ever did that, I figured I would wash it, and I put it over the arm of the chair. Well, guess what? This came long, that came short, and it was all disfigured. So you have to block it. So these you have to block. And so all that means is you're going to wet it, you're going to rinse it out, you're going to make it all round again, and then you're going to keep going to as many as you want. So now let's see if we can do this. I'm going to flip it over, and we're going to see if we can see the rose through the glass. You can already see it forming. So I'm going to take this off, and look at that. And that's without water, that without color. and depending on how many petals. So now the key is when this is wet, what you can do is now then just start forming these to make them the petals however you want them. And then actually I think it's kind of cute, right? So now you have these sopping wet roses. What do you do with them? Well, I noticed that they had to drain. So I took them and all I did was got paper towels, and you place them on the paper towels like that, and the excess water and the color it will bleed out. Okay, so don't just put them somewhere and walk away, because you'll have one heck of a mess. I mean, I must have changed the paper towels maybe 2 or 3 times until they stopped, like, because some of them, I didn't know what I was doing at first. They were really saturated, and so they really had to dry out. So all different ways of doing things. So I thought that was kind of cute. Now, what could you do with them? Well, you know what? If you put a little stem, right, and then you can put them in a jar. You can make a little bouquet of them. You can actually use them on different things that you are making. You know, if you're an artist and you want to just put them on one of your paintings, however you want to do, it's up to you. So I hope this was good for you, all of you. I thought this would be something that would be different. It would be fun. Creative ways that you could actually do things with your family, do them by yourself, and learn to adapt and make things that you have in your home that you can use. Because sometimes, like I said, I started off with a completely different show. As a matter of fact, I'll do it the next time. It's all how to make those little pipe cleaner dolls. And so that will be the next show that I have it all set up. But I said, you know what? I don't feel like doing that today. I feel like having some fun. I feel like showing him some of the eggs that I did that went wrong, about the centerpiece that was kind of bright, about how to make wreaths out of things that you have in your home, and to use the same centerpiece, same wreath bottom over and over, and how to make roses out of the pads that you wipe your face with. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. And remember, this is Jeanne B, and having fun with art is my way. Talk to you later. Bye.